Hello, everyone. So, I want to talk today about data missingness and the whole 100 or 200 black men versus a gorilla, and how we seem to be like kind of not using discernment and not using intent with our consumption, our content consumption online. So, I just came across this video that's about these black women depictions by these apes, these gorillas that are being used, these AI generated gorillas that are being used to depict black women and in their everyday natural ghetto habitat doing ghetto shit. So you got them talking about baby daddies and paternity tests, weave, and how is Bigfoot's walking out here with fucking 2-inch bust downs. I mean, and one of the problems with us is that we're so. I think one of the biggest problems, if not the biggest problem, is miseducation and just the fact that in a lack of education about our own history and our worth, and that education also is what instills that worth. You know, the more I've learned about my people throughout my life, the more I've grown a sense of pride in myself and my, people and what we do. So you don't really tolerate certain things, but a lot of us will tolerate these things because we grow up in this racist society that teaches us to hate ourselves. So you've got black people out here who will laugh at stuff like that. It's black. It's supposed to be black women. They're gorillas in bonnets and weaves and all kinds of shit. I mean, it's ridiculous. Wearing clearly black looking, female looking, attire, and they're AI generated videos that are made by mostly non-black people to make fun of us. It's basically like the AI new form of blackface, or one of them, because I'm sure there are many. And I just think we need to be more intentional about how we go about this stuff. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is how just racism is inherent. And one of the things that I learned in one of my statistics classes, the one that also had coding in it in our studio that I got a B in, go figure, talked about data missingness and how certain things can come up in data, certain anomalies that are not really able to be explained with the parameters that are set within, if I'm explaining this correctly, within the data experiment or study or what have you. So that will be oftentimes a good example of data missingness, missing data that is, it's there, but what would explain it, this, that, and the third, is not. So it basically makes it so that it is important, and it shows that we don't know everything about what we're looking at, but sometimes it does get dismissed or shelved or what have you because, you know, we don't know what to look for or they don't know what to look for. A lot of the time, this happens because of discrimination and or just racism and apartheid systems in general that make it so that certain demographics of people's history and knowledge about them to a certain extent is not really you know desired. It's not really a desired thing to look into, because an interesting thing for a lot of people from these other backgrounds. And unfortunately, um, the people who made AI back in the mid 1900s, the people who started, with the advent of it and creating a lot of the things that, ushered in AI in these systems and this technology, including at Dartmouth and things like that, including the people who are working in the field right now, for the most part, they're not black. So a lot of the missing data pertains to us, and other things that they don't really have as much interest in or knowledge about, or at least not the proper knowledge, or at least they're not utilizing it. So you got situations as well that stem from that, lack of interest or knowledge about into the Black community, like the whole AI racial profiling situation that we're dealing with right now. With basically because the majority of the pictures that were fed, the human pictures fed to these AI technologies have been white, and they've been so diverse about a crop of white people as a whole. AI is able to really distinguish between white faces very, very distinctly and determinately. So, like, you could be like twins, and it might just call that out if you're white, blonde hair, blue eyes. But if you're black, for instance, especially if you're dark skinned, it might just lump you in with all other dark skinned people. So that is very problematic because we've got them ramping up the use of AI facial recognition technology when it comes to a lot of crimes and police work. And that's clearly not going to be good for Black people because there's a situation from some years ago. And this is, again, years ago. I think this is before COVID. They're making suits, human suits, facial features and everything, that look so realistic that your own mom might call and turn you in for robbing a bank because a white dude had a suit on that looked like you. There's a dude, I forget the details of the story, the personal details, like the name of the people involved and where this happened, but you can look it up. A Black man or a white man was turned in by his girlfriend. It's the only reason that this Black man was exonerated because she found a suit that looked just like the man who was robbing that bank, who looked also like this Black man whose mom turned him in because she thought it was him when she saw the clip on the news. Wow. So, I mean, just so many things. But yeah, that was the only thing that got that Black man out of jail was that his white girlfriend, I think the white guy's girlfriend was white. She turned him in when she found the fucking the suit in the closet. So it's just like, what the fuck? And it also begs the question of, is there a market for like selling our faces to entities like this who make, suits like this and masks like this, so that you can actually have someone's face? Because how did he just coincidentally have someone's face in his same area? You know what I'm saying? And in the same area of the bank. Like, how did that happen? It almost seems like that there was like a system of like sending Black people's photographs, and being like, this is what I want to look like, or this is what I want the suit to look like. And if they can make them realistic, I mean, then they can do that. Insane. But apparently, it was only a few $1,000s to get all the stuff that he needed to dress up and do this. So it's really just crazy when you think about it, because it's just like, what kind of era, within what kind of era are we living, that this is the contention? This is what we have to contend with. Crazy. But yeah, we need to be more intentional. I think, discernment is a big thing. We need to be more intentional about what we watch and who we watch and visit. SNL did a whole fucking skit on this shit. Two Black women and a gorilla or something. I didn't even watch it because I'm not giving that kind of shit my energy or the time of day or any coins. But it just goes to show you that people profit off of our pain. It's very profitable. So, I mean, maybe we should not okay that. And I know it's not all of us. One thing we do have to realize is we're going to be having these conversations till the end of time, just because of the simple fact, or for the simple fact that the minorities are kind of prone to be the loudest in this internet era because of a lot of these racial factors and the people who programmed a lot of these things in the beginning and made it what we're using today. So the things that bubble to the top are not necessarily representative of the majority. They just are representative of what the algorithm wants, which tells you what the agenda is. The agenda is in the algorithm. So, but there was one more thing I wanted to say. We talked about the gorillas, SNL, black people catering to this and allowing this, data missingness. I feel like there was one more thing I was going to say. I think that was it. Well, thanks.